Hello everyone, welcome to the course on microservices implementation using Spring Cloud. In this course, before we get into the course, let's try to understand the objectives of this course. The first one is to create microservices. The next one is to verify APIs using Postman, then connect microservices to H2 database, register microservices in Spring Cloud Eureka server, configure Spring Cloud Gateway, configure Spring Cloud config server using Git, learn centralized logging using ELK stack, and the last one, learn distributed tracing using Zipkin and Sleuth. So what is the course description? Microservice architecture allows a system to be divided into a number of small individual independent services. Each service is very flexible, robust, composable, complete and independently scalable. Each microservice runs as autonomous processes and communicate with one another through APIs. Within this course, you will learn how to set up IntelliJ IDE, why to use microservices, learn about the microservices architecture, advantages of using microservices, understanding the workman of Postman, learn to verify and test APIs using Postman, how to connect to H2 database, learn how to register microservices in a Spring Cloud, learn how to register microservices in Spring Cloud Eureka server, understand how to configure Spring Cloud config server using Git, also learn centralized logging using ELK stack and also understand distributed tracing using Zipkin and Sleuth. So who are the targets? So this course is useful for whom then? So who is the target audience for this course? Who can benefit from this course? Now let's try to understand who can actually benefit from this course. Three set of target audiences here. The first one is cloud application developers. Then we have full stack Java developers. And the last one is cloud engineers. So what sort of prerequisites and knowledge you need to have to learn this course? The first one is knowledge on Spring Boot, then basic understanding of microservices, knowledge on Spring Cloud, and also a bit of working knowledge on IntelliJ IDE. Let me quickly walk you all through the lessons and practices in this course. So we have total of 7 lessons planned for you, and each lesson either has 1 or 2 practice lessons where you can actually set up things on your own. So the first lesson is Introduction to Microservices. In this we have 2 practice lessons. The first one is installing and setting Java platform and IntelliJ IDE, and the second practice is creating a simple microservices using Spring Boot. Now lesson 2 is verify API using Postman and connect to H2 database. In this, the first part of the practice lesson is where you will install Postman application and verify the APIs, and the second one is installing and configuring H2 database console. The lesson 3 is registering microservices in Spring Cloud Eureka service registry. Here, the first part of the practice is setting up Eureka server using Spring Cloud, and the second part is registering a microservice with Eureka server. Lesson 4 is integrating API in microservices. Here we have 4 practices for you. The first one is where you will set up API gateway using Spring Cloud, and secondly you will map order service to payment service with single ID, and lastly you will verify the order and payment call through API gateway. Now let me quickly walk you all through lesson 5, 6 and 7. Lesson 5 is Spring Cloud config server with Git. Here there are 3 practice lessons. The first one, you will create a new Git repository. Second one, you will set up config server using Spring Cloud, and lastly you will store order and payment microservice on config server all on your own. Lesson 6 is stack to centralize logging across all microservices. Here there are 2 practice lessons. The first one is create log file for order and payment microservice, and the second one is verify the log files in ELK stack. Verify the log files in ELK stack. The last lesson, that is the 7th lesson, is distributed tracing with Spring Cloud Sleuth and Zipkin. The last 2 lessons and the last 2 practice lessons are setting up Zipkin for tracing The last part of the practice lesson is distributed tracing using Spring Cloud and Zipkin. So what do we need in your practice environment? First one is the Git repository, and the second one is local system with stable internet connection. So what do we need for the practice environment? Now let me summarize the overview of this course. So I walked you all through the detailed course objective. Then we also understood the course description based on the objectives. Then we also went through target audience, prerequisites for taking up this course, detailed course schedule, and also we understood what is the practice environment used in the course to do the activities. Now let's get into the main lessons and the practice lessons.